Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of my physiotherapy experience as a fourth year student. My name is Benedict if you are new here. If you haven't watched part 1, please be sure to go back onto my channel and watch part 1 of this video where I talk about my experience during the first semester of clinicals, and I basically just give you guys a summary and rundown about how that went. So in today's video I'm going to be speaking about the second semester, which are the last 3 blocks of the clinicals. So let's get right into it. So for block 4, I went to, block 4 was public health, so rural block / public health block, where I went to Limpopo. So during your public health block, you're basically doing a lot of community service, community work, a lot of educating community members about different types of health conditions. You're doing outreaches, you're treating in clinics. There's just a lot of work in the community and engagements with the community. We also do get the chance to speak to people about what physiotherapy is and how physiotherapy helps people, and also doing things like screenings and doing community projects, home-based rehabilitation, where we visit people in their homes and just do like follow-up checkups on them and see if their home environment is suitable for them. Also, as well as seeing how we can assist them if they need to go back to work and what we can help them with. I'm also like assisting with assistive devices, giving them like crutches, wheelchairs, all that kind of stuff is what we do public health block as well. So I went, like I said, I went to Limpopo. This year we stayed there for 3 weeks, and we basically did all of that. We stayed on hospital accommodation, which was very nice. I had a good experience in my rural block. We had great supervisors. They were really fun to work with. We did learn quite a bit during that block. Unfortunately, because it was new placement this year, the supervisors that we had, they weren't really familiar with, how to manage having students with them. Like, to be fair, they tried their best, but we did feel like in areas we were lacking a bit when compared to the other students who went to other clinical placements where they've had students before and they know how to manage having students, how to plan everything out, how to assist us the way that we need to assist. So we felt like a lot of the time we had to tell them what we needed to do, what we needed from them, and all that kind of stuff. And like I did say, they did try their best to help us out, and they did what they could. And obviously, because they're going to have students in the future, they will get better and better the longer they do it. So that was great. Like, there were so many days like where we were just doing stuff. Like, we did a whole because like their offices and like the physiotherapy department was very run down, so we tried to come in and like clear things out and reorganize everything. So we had like a whole day where everyone stayed in after work, and we stayed until like 8 p.m. We stayed there, we cleaned, we organized, we shifted things around. And during that time it was fun because we were with everyone, we were cracking jokes, we were laughing, we were talking. So it was just a great time. We did go to home outreaches. We saw a stroke patient in his home. Unfortunately, that stroke patient did end up dying, like I think maybe like a few days later, which was very sad when we found out about that. But yeah, we went to his home, we did a follow-up checkup to see how he was coping at home, see what he needed help with. And then we also saw another woman who had polio. So I was very unfamiliar with polio. I had never actually seen a patient who had experienced polio. Polio is mainly something that a lot of people suffered from in the past, and now we see a lot of people who are dealing with the side effects and complications of the condition. So she was in a wheelchair, and she had atrophy of her legs. So her legs were very small and very skinny, and the muscles were very thin, so she couldn't walk. She needed to use a wheelchair. So we were able to give her a new wheelchair from the OTs, because we did go there with the OTs, so the OTs were able to give her that wheelchair. We also did a screening for stroke patients. So on one of the days, so in the clinic, in the hospital, they had an outpatient department. So that means that basically patients who are coming in to see the doctors, they go get screened in by the nurses. So they check their blood pressure, obviously get basic details about their vitals, what before they're brought into the hospital to go and see the doctor. So we went there and we worked with the nurses, and we basically had a questionnaire where we were asking patients about like their lifestyle habits to kind of determine who was at risk. So it wasn't stroke, it was high blood pressure. So we were trying to screen for who could possibly be at risk for high blood pressure, and depending on what the results were, but depending on what the answers were from the patients, we were able to educate them about like smoking and alcohol intake, and consumption of salt, and how all of those things could affect their blood pressure. But that's what we did, and all of the things that we did, we had to compile a portfolio for our public health block. We needed to compile a portfolio. That was part of our exam. So we were going to be marked on that, and it was so much work trying to compile a portfolio. When I tell you guys the stress that I went through, it was hell. It was hell. There was so much to do in terms of the write-up, because you have to basically write everything up, do a summary of how you did the task, how you came about deciding to do that task, so like your needs analysis, what you found out from the community in terms of what they needed from us. And yeah, you basically write all of that up, and you write down what your intervention was and what your role as a physiotherapist was in those different areas. So 3 different tasks, doing all of that 3 times, it is quite a lot of work. And then we had to submit that at the end of the year and then be marked on that for our exam. Yeah, also during the public health block, we also did see like basic outpatients. So yeah, we saw basic outpatients, but there weren't really many of them, because the physiotherapists were the ones who were basically seeing patients, because we were there mainly to do our projects and our tasks. We weren't really there to see as many patients. So but like I said, we did see them every now and again. Oh yes, my 5th block was pediatrics. So I went to another hospital, and we were treating like kids, right? So pediatrics, you treat kids, you treat babies, toddlers, children. I think peds you treat up to like, did they say 13 or 18? Can't be 18. I think it's up to like 13. I can't remember, but yeah. So different conditions. A lot of what we saw at the hospital where we were placed, like everything depends on where you're placed. Different hospitals, you see different stuff. Where I went to, we saw a lot of severe acute malnutrition. So a lot of kids who are not really eating well, not getting the nutrients that they need, and not developing well. So with these kids, the SAM/SAM babies, they will have a lot of developmental delays. They're not developing according to how a child that age should be developing. So they're not reaching their milestones. They're maybe not sitting the time they're supposed to be sitting, or at the age they're supposed to be sitting at. They're not standing, they're not crawling, they're not speaking, they're not doing certain things that they're meant to be doing at that age. So our job in those areas was to come and facilitate them reaching their developmental milestones. So if a kid is struggling to maybe sit or stand, we'd come in and facilitate them and encourage them to be able to sit and to stand and do what they're meant to be doing for their age. Also treating other things like cerebral palsy, so kids that have CP, treating CP, which is what we also did in 3rd year. We did see a lot of kids with CP, so that wasn't a new thing. What else did we see? We saw kids that had maybe chest issues, chest infections. I saw a kid with Down syndrome. You see kids with encephalopathy. Encephalopathy would basically be any like brain disease, or like having a tumor in the head, or any disorder that would affect brain functioning. And obviously that would result in them developing a lot of other complications in terms of functioning and developments for that kid. A lot of the kids who did come in with SAM were abandoned. Like we saw a lot of abandoned babies, guys. Like I didn't know so many kids were being abandoned like the way I saw at this hospital. Kids were being found in dumpsters. Kids were being they were found lost. They were meant to be at an orphanage home. Somehow they found them lost on the streets. Some parents came and just dropped their kids off at the hospital. There's one kid, a 10-year-old boy, who had mental retardation, I believe. He was dropped off at the hospital by an aunt or somebody with a note and a backpack that basically said that his parents or his mom died when she was giving birth to him, that the kid has got water in his head and he can't speak, and he can't I think he can't speak, and he has some other difficulties, and they can't help him anymore. Hopefully somebody can be able to help him. They left a whole 10-year-old kid at the hospital, guys. Like, that stuff is just shocking to see, to witness. And I felt so sorry for that kid, man. Like, you feel so sorry for these babies. Like, every day I just felt like, man, if I could just take these kids home with me, you know. A lot of the other things that we do is also like just playing with them and interacting with them and giving them some attention and just comforting them. And that's just also part of our role. That's also something that kids need. It's not just always just treating them as like, you know, an object. No, they need that affection because they're kids, they're babies, and they're not getting a lot of that from like where they're coming from. So that's a lot of what we did. And I just developed a lot of like sometimes like a little bit of an attachment to some of these babies, because they were just so cute and just so innocent and just so pure. And it was just heartbreaking when they had to leave or when I left and all of that. But yeah, I just really loved treating the babies. I just really loved playing and being with the babies during pediatrics, and yeah. And then my last placement for the year was at a rehabilitation hospital, where I was doing my spinal blocks, so treating patients who have spinal conditions, so traumatic spinal injuries, like, you know, gunshots. So if you were shot and then you had a spinal injury, so the bullet injured your spine, or if you were stabbed and then you had like a laceration in your spine, or if you're in a car accident and you had a spinal injury, or non-traumatic injuries, so if you had a tumor in your spine, all that kind of stuff, spinal injuries. So a lot of quadriplegic patients, or paraplegic patients. So quadriplegic, paralysis of your upper limbs, so your arms and your legs, and paralysis just paraplegia, just paralysis of your legs. So the patients that we saw there, we were only given, like, we had very few patients each. I think we had 3 or 4. It changed over time as we were there. So we started off with, I think, 2 or 3. I think I had 1 quadriplegic patient who I saw for the 4 weeks. Sometimes you would change, like if the patient wouldn't show up, you see a different patient, whatever. The type of conditions that were there that I saw, all my other classmates saw, brown sequard, spinal tumor, gunshot wounds, stab wounds. One patient had cervical spondylitis, TB spine as well. So we saw 1 bed patients, and the other patients were gym patients. So they came down from hospital to gym, and they were mainly just in the hospital for rehab, so just physiotherapy or an OT. And what I thought was funny at this hospital was that what the OTs were doing was very similar to what physios were doing, and I was a bit confused as to why. Because there were patients who told me that they would go to OT and they would be doing muscle strength and transfers and the same stuff that we're doing in physio. I'm like, not sure why that is. Is it because there's not enough patients who require OT, or what is going on there? But anyways, I didn't really know. A lot of what we did in the rehabilitation was balance training, so training and sitting balance. Because obviously if you can't feel your legs, like this is what I learned now from the patients, like what they would say. When you can't feel your legs, you don't think about it when you have functioning in your legs, but when you can't feel your legs, you can't feel that you're sitting on a chair. Like your body won't tell you that it can feel the chair, because you don't have any sensation in your legs. So what they would say is that it feels like they're sitting on a cloud. And if you can't feel that you're sitting, it almost feels like you're about to fall. Whenever you move your upper body, you feel like you're about to fall. So a lot of the time they'll be struggling with their balance. They wouldn't be able to sit, and like they wouldn't be able to sit without support. They wouldn't be able to sit and like have their hands up to do anything, or like sit and be able to reach forward or reach to the side, all that kind of stuff. They all had like really poor sitting balance, because obviously they had no sensation in their legs. They can't feel where they are in space, right? The proprioception was just off. So we had to work a lot on that, work on getting them to improve their sitting balance. And for those who were able to walk, because there were some quadriplegics who were able to walk, we then also do standing and do standing balance, all of that. So a lot of balance training, a lot of gait training for those who could walk, you know, walking with crutches, walking with a walking aid, walking in parallel bars, stair training, helping them walk on stairs, doing steps, all of that kind of stuff. What else did we do? Obviously muscle strengthening to, you know, regain muscle strength. We educated and facilitated transferring from their wheelchair onto the plinth, or transferring from the wheelchair onto the bed, and transferring from the bed or the plinth back onto the wheelchair. So at the beginning you start with facilitating, so you're helping them a little bit, and then obviously the more you do it, the more they practice it, they get to the point where they're able to do it themselves. Also, pressure sore relief, educating on pressure sore relief is very important, because they're not able to like roll themselves in bed and change positions. So that means that they're staying in a position, like they're lying on their back or on their side or whatever position, for too long. And if you stay in one position for too long without getting any relief on your body, then like your body, like the muscle and like the flesh starts to waste away, and you get like sores that develop. So the sores start to eat away at your muscle and your flesh, and getting pressure sores, it's just from then it's just downhill. So we just try to avoid pressure sores at all. So a lot of educating on pressure sore relief, educating on how to help them roll independently to ensure that they don't get pressure sores, because we just want to prevent it as much as possible. Because once you get pressure sores, bruh, you're gonna start getting infections and other things that start happening, and it just becomes a mess. So yeah, all of that, and your basic, like, you know, functional activities. So like I said, again, rolling, not just for pressure or relief, but for them to be able to roll and to maybe sit up in the bed. So in order for you to sit up, you need to start by rolling. So you're going to roll and then help them to sit up, and then help them to maybe shift from side to side on the bed. Help them, again, like I said, move on to a chair, move on to their wheelchair. Help them to stand. So sit to stand training for those who can stand, and again, like from their walking. So again, the goal is for them to be in rehab, be in the hospital for as little time as possible, and get them to go home as soon as possible with as little assistance as possible. So for them to be able to walk as independently and to be as functionally independent as they could possibly be. Guys, that's basically the 3 blocks that I did in my second semester. Obviously, all of this was followed up by exams. In my 6th block, the spinal block, I had an unseen exam. Hey, I had an unseen exam, guys, and yeah, I tried my best, and it is what it is. Obviously, they don't give us the results, so we don't know how the results were. All I know is that, hey man, I passed final year, so we don't know what happened there. As long as I know I passed, that's all I need to know. And yeah, and then obviously, yeah, that was it for clinicals after that. Yeah, guys, all in all, second semester went very quickly. I don't know, everything just felt very fast. So basically, clinicals as the students are done and dusted. I hope I managed to explain everything that we did. I hope I didn't like forget anything. But that's the end of the video for today. I hope that it was very informative for you guys. Hope that, you know, there was something that you could take away, something that you learned from. If you have anything that you would like to ask, any questions, I know you guys were asking for this part 2. Like, I know you guys were in my comment section of the last video asking for this part 2, and you asked, and I love it, you know. If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comment section. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed my if you enjoyed this video. If you've been enjoying the videos on my channel, please make sure to subscribe as well. Please also do like, thumbs up the video, and also share, you know, share with any other physiotherapy students you know. If you have a friend who's doing physio, if you have a family member who's doing physio and this would maybe like interest them, you know, man, plug, share the video, you know. And yeah, guys, I hope again that you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.